personalities. You are the man.
Yes.
So there you go.
It's probably more old standard than gold standard.
No way.
definitely
Not
gold.
by our standard. No way. You are absolutely the gold standard.
I've never won an award for what I do.
You won our hearts, Mo.
That's
you won our
what
hearts.
matters.
Other people out there that you can gauge what I've given to this industry based on some of the I don't know not awards naman I guess so much kasi yung awards sa Pilipinas sa radyo hindi naman sobrang hindi siya parang famas or when you win it really means something, but I've never been nominated for anything.
No, man.
Let me nominate you right now para sa best podcast in the entire universe. Award given by Qabayan, going out to DJ Mo Twister.
I've had a script in my pocket for 25 years that I've wanted to
you mentioning 25 years is quite funny because who else can you name that has been in the game for 25
so
years
long.
for so long, and still every time you come on you still bring it, man.
Well, I started really young though. I mean,
yeah, this is the point where we find out about how long your career was, where you all started. If you may do us the ultimate as to telling us how you started it all.
So I started. Oh gosh, let's see. What year is it right now? It's 2021. Okay. So I started in '97. So this is going to my 25th year. Or something like that. So '96 in that range. I was just a teenager in school. I was in La Salle in Manila, and I just had really no expectations or ambitions to be a radio DJ.
Wow.
Oh.
It was just luck. I was at a restaurant. I was sitting with a friend, and yung table na right next to us were the bosses of Magic 89.9. So they come over, me and my friend talk. They were looking for somebody new because at the time, a lot of their DJs, hindi naman sila old because they're probably younger than me right now. But it's guys like Joe the Mango who've been around for.
Of course.
They were looking, I guess, for newer people who have a command of both languages. Speak English, can speak Filipino, and they asked me, hey, we over here. Are you interested in being a radio DJ? They kind of invited me to just come in studio and hang out. And I said, okay. I mean, I'm not doing anything else outside of school, and I tried it. And 6 months later, I mean, just immediately, I'm on the radio. 6 months later, I started a TV show called SOP. That ran for, I don't know, SOP ran 15 years. They're about to give it to and then I got an ASAP and all that stuff. So it was just kind of one of those things where both radio and TV were side by side, just kind of taking off. Obviously, I think I'm more known for being on radio than, say, television. But that's because, we had really kind of controversial stuff that happened on the radio.
Yeah.
Called Forbidden Questions that was kind of intertwined with showbiz and all of that stuff that kind of created a bit of a mess in the industry, but I think it is a good thing. It was a good experience, and I think the listeners enjoyed it more than the artistas. The artistas were like, never gonna go on that show.
Most definitely. But anyway, just to follow up that question, when you got into broadcasting, right? You started to become a DJ. People invited you, and you started getting a feel for the business. Did you automatically fall in love with it, or did it take time for you to truly appreciate the work that we do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting question because it took time, but at the same time, I knew how much power it was. Right now, being a radio DJ, unfortunately, sa Pilipinas, I'm not sure what you guys have over there in Doha, but sa Pilipinas, because we compete against the internet, and because we compete against podcasts and MP3s and playlists and Spotify and TV and Netflix,
just
and all
everything else in between.
Yeah, it's a tougher competition now. So you have to be better and you have to be different and you have to be kind of when we started, it is either TV or radio. That's it, right? So there was a lot of power involved in it. People couldn't listen to a song online. This is pre-internet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I remember back in the day when I started as well with the radio thing back in the Philippines. I used to remember we used to put the CD
Yes.
inside the device for us to be able to play a song, right? So right now it's all about just clicking your way through this job. So that is in that. Yeah, go ahead.
A little further, we were using an 8-track, which is
True.
a tape.
8-track, yes.
This is, it is a luxury, right, back then. And I think now, I mean, because that's where people got their music. That's how they got it. They didn't have the internet. They heard it from the radio. Your relationship with recording companies and recording artists and all of that stuff was really, really strong.
Yes.
So it took a while to get good at it. Quote, unquote. I also understood how much more powerful it was back then. These days, it's still a pretty powerful medium because sa Pilipinas, again, we're talking Philippines here, right? EDSA's always so traffic and all the other streets are so traffic. You can't really stream. You can't really do things.
True.
The talk radio format works well in Manila. It works well in Manila because if they wanted to listen to music in Manila, they can just put on their playlist. So what we've had to do is we've had to adjust to making it some music, but a lot more talk radio in the morning.
Yeah.
Because that's the drive time
So
stuff.
this is how it evolved all throughout the years. What I'm more interested in right now knowing is that ever since you started, did you know that this industry, this business would be what you're going to achieve for your life? I mean, do you believe up until now that up until now where you are right now and what you got from whatever it is that we do on a day-to-day basis, did you at the first how did you push through? How did you get to where you are right now? These are all for the aspiring RJs and DJs that are coming up.
Because transitioning from radio and then TV, and then your very successful podcast.
Exactly.
Talagang how to be
basically,
you.
we are celebrating our anniversary, but we want to greet you happy 10th
10th year.
10th year. Yeah.
Likewise, happy anniversary to you. And I've seen other countries have kind of Philippine radio stations and stuff, and it just kind of helps solidify us as people, as in other countries when we can actually have something that appeals to us and is targeted to us. It just shows how important I think Filipinos are around the world. So honestly, for the 10 years that you guys are congratulating me for the podcast, it's just a podcast. Everybody can have one.
No. Come on, man. Everybody can have a podcast, but not everybody can be Mo, man. Come on.
And I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Everybody can have a podcast. Can it be a good podcast? Well, that's but not every station, not every country can get a radio band and actually come up with something for Filipinos. No? So,
True.
Again, I know what you're doing. You're saying, "Hey, Mo, you're freaking awesome," and all that stuff. But there's nowhere near the level of achievement that you guys have been able to do in 2 years.
Wow. Thank you.
So I
Thanks for
appreciate-
thinking, show. Thanks for thinking, show. Yeah.
Get real here and understand that you guys do a pretty amazing job. Now, back to your question real quick. You know, I was kind of getting to how talk radio started to become a realization for me. And I think that's kind of the answer to even your second question is getting here, being good at it, being famous, quote unquote, right? You have to realize, okay, wait, what can I do as a host? Not maybe back in the day, it was how good is my music? How good is my transition?
Yes.
Yeah.
But now, how good is my technical? But now it's, okay, but what do I say? And how much sense do I make? And what topics? How much can I produce? How good can I write? All of that stuff has to now come in. You know, you need more skills now to be successful in radio.
True.
Kasi dapat at the end of the show, may takeaway yung listener mo eh. Hindi siya parang, okay, I played songs and that's it.
Right, because then they can just go to their playlist.
Correct.
That's it.
If being a good DJ nowadays is just playing the song, they can just use their part,
So many
right?
streaming
Yeah, they can just
music
stream
now.
online. So you gotta have that extra edge for you to be able to stay in this game. Yeah.
Absolutely. And again, that's where I think I was able to find more love for this medium. You know, and that's why I even jumped into the podcast world, because like I don't have enough of it. Like my radio show is 3 hours a day, but I want to talk some more.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably the best kind of piece of advice I give people who want to get into this business is understand what's going on in social, have your social commentary strong. Understand what's going on in the world. Understand what's going on in your country, in your city, and then try to incorporate some of that opinion, stuff like that, into the radio along with your music, because again, you have to have more skill set to do that.
I don't know if you were able to think about this, but the main job for us here in Qatar is just basically be the voice of the Filipino people.
Community.
Every time people tell us, thank you so much for being there because we feel a little bit closer to the Philippines, that fills our heart 100%.
That's enough. That's enough to get you through the day.
Every single...
Your listeners should know this to be true, okay? Because I know that it's easy to do the cheesy answer.
Correct. Yeah.
I feel touched kasi parang I listen to the radio, parang feels like Philippines. You have to all your listeners listen right now. You have to understand, I think, that we really mean that wholeheartedly.
Yes, we do.
Right?
When people listen to the podcast, Joe, you said you listen to the podcast, and people are like, wow, the stories, grabe, wild, you know. And they go, you must love hearing that stuff.
Right.
And I'll tell you, I love knowing that people around the world listen to it, because to make it feel like a little part of home, and if you're not home, is the goal.
Yes, a little part of home.
Just make it a little part of. Now, this is probably not a lucrative financial endeavor. I know my podcast isn't. Certainly not.
We don't go into the radio and podcasting for money. That we know.
That we know as much. You don't fall in love with this business because of money.
Yeah. This is not a money-making business. So to its truest form, it's really us liking what we do and understanding that it's important for others, like especially Filipinos who are outside the country.
This is what I keep on trying to explain to people that I work with on a day-to-day basis. It is never about what you can make at the end of the day. It's what you can give out to the people who are listening to you.
Right. No, obviously you have to have a second job.
Yes. We all do.
Yeah.
We all do. But anyway, Mo, I can talk to you about radio broadcasting and how you had your humble beginnings to where you got in this business right now. But there are a whole lot of people right now who wants to start their own vlog, who wants to be DJs. What is your best advice to these people?
My advice has changed through the years. It started like every opportunity you have to jump on, do it, because they don't come around very often.
True.
Especially sa daming nag-graduate ng mass comm.
Yes.
That stuff every year sa Pilipinas. And they're in the thousands, and the opportunities are so much less than those who are coming out, right? So always jump on an opportunity to do it. Now, I know you guys were making fun earlier about, everybody can make a podcast. No, not everybody. Well, everybody can. And everybody can make a YouTube channel too if you want to.
Content is another thing.
Content, yeah, creativity, editorial, all that stuff is a different story, but you can make one. Make one then. And that's really a good way to kind of come about. This is both not just a radio piece of advice, but even a showbiz piece of advice.
Yes.
How many have we seen globally have come from the YouTube? Everyone from Justin Bieber to insert anybody locally from the Philippines.
Yeah.
So the opportunities are there to shine. You just have to take it.
Yeah.
Now, whether you shine or not, who knows? I mean, I can't really advise you there because that's an individual basis. But
True.
I guess the best piece of advice is don't be scared. I mean, you want to get into it, get into it. You got to work hard at it. You guys might not know this, but a lot of the stuff that I talk about on the radio is not scripted word for word, but a lot of it is scripted because I prepare for the show.
Correct.
I prepare
Yes.
I don't just react to whatever that's going on in the moment.
Man, I love this interview.
Learning a
I
lot.
love this interview.
So so key. You don't just sit here and turn on a microphone and start talking.
Exactly. This is what's so hard to explain, that you do not just wake up in the morning, sit down in front of the microphone and just go about blabbering. You got to prepare the night before. You got to know how to react to whatever questions, whatever reactions you're going to get from your listeners.
Because not every show is different. You don't know how the people will be interacting with you during the program. Because Joe does the morning show, I do the closing show at night, and It's completely different every day.
Anyway,
Yeah.
for our last question, can we say question? I would like you to give a message. We are projected to be at 250,000, possibly 350,000 Filipino, the community here in Qatar. So if you've got a message to the people who are far away from their families right now, what message would you like to give our listeners right now, watching us over at our social medias, listening to us right now on the radio as they go home, because it's 7 o'clock in the evening right now and everybody's in their cars driving home right now. What message can they get from their DJ Mo?
I think the key word that you said was families, because that's the part that separates leaving the Philippines as easy and versus as, what am I trying to say? When you leave the Philippines, it's either going to be really easy or really, really hard.
True.
And I think the key phrase there is families. When you leave your families, it's difficult, right? So I know you guys listening, the 300,000 out there, I don't know how often you guys have the chance to bring your wife or your husband and your kids and your immediate family. Most of the time you can't. So I understand that, and it's hard. And I know that that's difficult. So for you guys out there who are driving home after a long day, who've been, I don't know, I can't say bad words here, it's the radio, busting your butt to make ends meet because you want a better life. I completely get that, right? And I just want you to know that it's stations like this that, the phrase we said earlier, makes it feel like a little bit like home, that I think we should reach out to. Listen to these stations, listen to certain shows out there online to make yourself feel kind of less homesick. And then, of course, strengthen your community within the country you're in right now. In this case, of course, you're in Doha or you're in Qatar. Strengthen that Filipino community. Make it not just sound like home, but feel like home.
Feel like
So
home.
I think you can do that. It helps us globally. I'm here in the U.S. right now, right? I do a radio show every single morning to Manila, even though it's afternoon. It's a different day here. Like, I do the show on Monday there. It's Sunday here. I mean, just to be connected, just to kind of be at home every single day. And I know here, it's the U.S., when it comes to Asians, we were having a little rough time right now.
Yeah.
Filipinos as well, kind of be violently attacked and all that. Just kind of reiterates, you need to strengthen your communities where you are. So I encourage you guys to do that. I want to thank you guys for being a venue for that here on the radio for Filipinos. So,
Mo, can we give you a virtual hug right now?
Hugs and hearts.
Our hearts.
Maraming salamat.
Yeah, and finally, if you may do us a solid
Where
and
can we catch you?
invite the people to catch you.
well, let me invite them to catch you guys first. Because again, the podcast does really, really, really well in Qatar. So instead of just invite, I want to thank you guys for making it happen. Support it if you can. It's called Good Times with Mo, the podcast, year 10. It's on weekdays. Obviously, I'm on Magic 89.9 as well in Manila, but that's on Facebook right now. I mean, it is being broadcasted through Magic 89.9 because of the pandemic, though. We've been at home for over a year. It's unfortunate, but we're trying to get.
So
Philippines obviously getting hit hard right now.
Yeah.
I think we're up to 15,000 cases a day.
I even saw your interview wherein you got to be a dad throughout the pandemic and during the pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to find some of the silver lining in it, being able to be at home a little bit more, strengthening your relationship with your families that you don't get to see, especially sa Philippines where, you're doing 8-hour days, but the travel time is also an extra 3 hours.
Yeah.
Commute.
It eats up a bulk of your time. So embrace this past year where you're getting to be at home and all of that. But I also know, like many Filipinos, maybe even in Qatar, lost their jobs this past year because of all of this, and that's a whole new stress involved. But again, try to find some reason to embrace what's
Some
going on.
silver lining.
Yeah,
But anyway, it all brought us closer to family. I mean, for one, I was able to reach out to family members that I don't even talk to, friends that I lost from school. And during this pandemic, I was able to reach out and just make friends again, talk again, and say hello. Make sure you value the people in your life on a day-to-day basis. I mean, I lost my mom to this pandemic. I couldn't even go home because of the lockdown. I couldn't even go home to the Philippines. But anyway, it just brought us closer together. That's the silver lining for me.
Somehow. Yeah, I'm sorry about your loss. I mean, my wife
That's
lost her
okay.
brother as well to COVID last year. It's been rough for
Everybody.
especially people though who've lost somebody. I think sometimes we think, oh, most people survive. You're going to be fine. You're young, but you understand, no, people do lose their lives over this stuff,
True.
and I don't want to minimize that, right? So I'm sorry for your loss. That's awful. And it's double hard to find a silver lining if you have gone through that. We've gone through with it here at home, so it's been a tough year, but I'm hoping we'll see a little light at the end of the tunnel.
Hopefully soon.
Hopefully this time next year.
Everybody's getting their vaccine over here already. So
Yeah, already?
that's good.
Okay. Have you guys? When are you guys getting your vaccine?
So there's
I'm done.
a vaccination program
done.
going on for everyone, and then just
Yeah.
the priority groups right now. But they're ramping up in the next couple of weeks, so which is good.
So
Awesome, yeah.
the general public's gonna
And
get
it's
it.
free for all.
Yeah, it's free. That's the best thing about it.
I just got mine. I didn't just. I got mine maybe a month and a half ago, almost 2 months ago. Yeah, completely free. For the guys listening in the Philippines, maybe broadcasting, streaming on social media and stuff, I know the first thing you say, swerte niyo. But ganyan.
Totoo.
Yeah, it is one of those things where we feel a little bit better about the environment that we're in. I just hope you guys can follow suit soon. I know it's
True. We all wish that
all
for
hope
the
that.
Philippines actually.
Yeah.
this week's been the worst week. Year
Don't worry.
plus.
I keep on telling the listeners, soon enough we'll be able to see our family members back home. It's only a matter of pushing through, just holding up until the time that you get your vaccines, and you'd be free to travel once more.
Getting there.
Getting there.
Somehow.
Right.
So there you go. Hey,
you.
DJ Mo, we gotta cut this short. We're coming up to a prayer right now that we're gonna have to cut it short. But anyway, we would like to thank you from all of us here at Qabayan Radio,
We
the whole
appreciate it.
family up in here. Thank you so much for having the time of the day to just even talk to us and just let you be the voice of the Filipino community also. So thank you so much for joining us in our show, and hopefully we'll be able to catch each other online. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you as well.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
You awesome, man.
Ingat dyan, ingat.
Ingat.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right.